and welcome to my kitchen. It's Grandma Roseanne, and we are going to make an outrageous, spectacular summer salad. It's going to be an heirloom tomato, look at these beauties, steak salad, and we're going to have a vinaigrette dressing with that. Now, I would love to tell you I grew these heirlooms, but I didn't. Mine aren't ready yet, but I'm growing heirlooms, right? And they are so delicious. They're so wonderful. So if you go to the store, considering that this is one of the main ingredients to it, I would really recommend you try the heirloom if you haven't tried them before. You're going to have some sticker shock. I will forewarn you, because they are a little pricey, but sometimes we just need to splurge, okay? Splurging is good. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna work with the steak first. So, okay, all right, now in my pan here, I have put 1 tablespoon of olive oil and 1 tablespoon of butter. And the olive oil is in there so the butter doesn't burn, but it just gives it a really nutty taste. It's absolutely delicious. What I am using is a flank steak. If you haven't used a flank steak before, I will tell you, I think it's better than filet mignon. I really do. I don't know if you can see this. Come up and see if you can take a look. Can you see all the marbling in there? Oh, it is just fantastic. So what I have done is I have cut this into chunks like this, because we want nice hearty chunks when we're going to cut it, when we're going to cook it. The reason we're doing that rather than cooking the whole steak and flipping the whole steak is simply because now we will be able to get good crust and good browning on all sides of it. And the reason you want that is because that's where your flavor is, okay? So what I'm going to do is just finish off this last piece. I'm just taking a chunk like this. To this I'm adding a ½ teaspoon of salt and a ¼ teaspoon of pepper. I'm not adding anything else to it, and it doesn't need anything else because everything else we are doing is going to have outrageous flavor in it, in the vinaigrette and everything else that we're putting in. So salt and pepper is about all that's needed here. And we want that cooking temperature to be about between 325 and 350 degrees because we want a really nice sear on this. So I'm just checking the temperature of the oil. We've got a little ways to go. If you put it in before your temperature is up, what happens is the meat will soak that oil in, and you really don't want that. So you let it get up to the temperature that it needs to be. It'll be just a couple of minutes. You hear the sizzle? That's what I'm talking about. I've got this like on a medium-high heat, and that should be good. And you want them all about the same size so that they cook evenly. Now, this is the part that's hard for me. Don't mess around with it. Let it get crusty. The reason I say it's hard for me because I want to mess around with it. I want to get in there and turn it and poke it and look and do whatever. Very hard for me to stay away from it. So what we're going to do while this is frying itself up, we're going to go over and we're going to make that vinaigrette. Alrighty. Now, I went out to my garden and I just picked all of the herbs that we're going to be using. So I have basil, thyme, shallots, chives, and spring onions. Now I will tell you, all of these were ready, but I don't think my spring onions were ready. They're really babies. But I'm going to use them anyway. They'll just be tender and delicious. But I'll tell you, when I pulled them up, I was a little bit shocked. I thought they were further along than they are. But they'll be good nonetheless. And can I tell you the secret? This is the second time we're doing this because the first time we did it, which was just yesterday, the microphone didn't work. So we did the whole thing with no sound. So we had to suffer through eating this salad twice. Oh, I think that's a pretty darn good thing. So into our bowl, I have 1 shallot and it's minced very fine. So you want to be sure to do that. You don't want big chunks of shallot in anybody's mouth. In here I have chives. Now the beauty of this recipe right now, or the vinaigrette, is just use whatever you have in your garden. Or if you're going to the store and buying some fresh herbs, just get the herbs you like. Because this is forgiving. You can have anything you want here. This is thyme. And I'm just gonna mix that up with my fingers. And I know my fingers are clean, so don't worry about that. I have 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice. No stuff out of a jar. Squeeze that lemon. It's so much better, so much better. And then here I have 3 tablespoons of olive oil. We're gonna very slowly just bring this together. This salad you can have in about 15 minutes. That's how quick this whole thing is. Okay, and we're just gonna give that a good few whisks here, just so we can get that olive oil incorporated. I'm adding the green onions. Okay, now to this vinaigrette right here, which is just lovely, flavorful, I'm going to add the basil. Now what I'm doing with the basil is I'm just cutting it, just chopping it. Very rustic chop on it. Gives it a beautiful flavor in the salad. It really does. And if you cut it with a knife, it will get black. But if you cut it and chop it with your fingers like this, you're okay. Okay? And if there's any ingredient I'm using here that you don't like, for heaven's sakes, don't use it. These are just the ones that Marcia and I like. Okay, we can set that aside for a minute. All right, so now we're going to start with our tomatoes. And I'm going to show you a slick little tool here. Marcia, come up, let him take a really good look at this. This is the most amazing little $5 tool that you will ever get for your kitchen. I got it off of Amazon. It's called a Norpro. And it will hull tomatoes, and it will hull strawberries and apples and whatever else you need. But be sure you get this brand simply because it is so sharp. Now watch this. You just come in, come around. And there's your core. Isn't that cool? I think that is so cool. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slice this into 1/4 inch slices. They're going to make a presence, I will tell you that. Just like this. And I love the fact that they are so colorful. Now, a yucky thing like this nobody wants to eat, but you're not going to throw that away, so I just cut around it, and we have good edible there. Okay, and these I had cut up before, so I'm just going to set those over there. Okay, let's take a look at our meat and see what we've got going. Yep, it's looking good. It's looking good. So we're just going to toss it over, flip it over. And I like this medium rare, so depending on how you like the meat, you know, you can adjust the cooking time. But this has been probably about 5 minutes. So can you see how fast this is going? If you're a chef, all you do is you just press down on that meat and you can tell exactly the level of done. Oh, I'm not a chef. I use a thermometer. Stick that puppy in there. For medium rare, you were on about 125. And we are there. As my grandchildren would say, these are super delicious. I don't know why it took me so many years to discover a flank steak. Now the beauty of this salad is that you can serve it hot, you can serve it room temperature, or chilled, whatever you like. We're going to have this hot, so I'm just going to tent it and let it rest. Now for the lettuce, whatever you want, whatever lettuce you love. I love butter lettuce. I think it's a beautiful lettuce, and I'm not using it on this one, but I do love it. And again, you want it very rustic, so just cut it up, chop it up with your hands like that. Just so it's kind of like bite-sized pieces so that your guest or your family isn't just having lettuce hanging out of their mouth. And then here I have red leaf, because we eat with everything. We eat with our, obviously our taste buds, but we eat with our eyes too, you know, so you want it to be nice and crisp and flavorful. And then I have iceberg. If you haven't put your lettuces in plastic bags, you might want to consider doing that. When I bring them home from the grocery store, I just wash it out and then I put them in here. But Marcia, come here for a second. Can you hear how crisp that is? You hear that? That is like restaurant quality. That is wonderful. I love that. And I never found anything else that could quite do that. All right, now we just want to toss this. Ooh, this smells good. I mean, really good. Okay, we want just a little bit of salt and pepper, and I have just about a quarter of salt and about 1/8 of pepper in here. Tried to escape. Now we could throw everything in the bowl, and that would be acceptable, but we're going to have a constructed salad here, so we want every ingredient to have its own beauty and its own place on the plate. So we're going to start with our tomatoes on the bottom. See how thick I cut those? Marcia, I'm glad we messed up the other day. There, that looks pretty good. Now we're going to spray this with a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to top it with a little tiny bit of salt and pepper. And then we are going to add our lettuce and vinaigrette right to the middle. Beautiful. Isn't it beautiful? Beautiful. Okay, now comes the meat. And we could be done here, but no, we're not, because we're going to put feta cheese on top of this. Now, when you buy your feta, you have the choice of buying it in a chunk like this, or you can buy it already crumbled. You are much better off to buy the chunk because they have a retardant on the crumble and it just is not quite as good. So you want it to be super delicious. Oh, look at this. This is just gorgeous. And then homemade croutons. Now I do have a video up for this. I do. So if you want to see that, now mine got pretty crispy here because I thought I was just making them for me and I like them really crispy, but poor Marcia might end up with a dental problem afterwards. We are about ready to begin. So You want to have all ingredients in there. So I'm just going to dig down to the bottom, get cheese and meat and heirloom tomatoes and move it over there. I think we need a bit of red in there as well. How does that look? Pretty spectacular? I think so. Now, one might ask, what is this, Roseanne, that you have over here to your far right? These are some of the most amazing buttermilk biscuits you are ever going to eat. Oh, they are heaven. They really are. And I have a video on them. If you look at the video and you start to look at it and say, oh, that's never going to come together, that will never work, just follow the video and trust in the process, and this is what you will end up with. And we have made square biscuits because square biscuits are cool and round biscuits are not. So now the big question, Marcia, are you ready to be the taster?
I am. Let's do this.
All right, hold on a second. Marcia, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Marcia. I call myself Roseanne's smart and final grocery store friend, because that's where we met. But I'm very excited about tasting this again. Okay. I wish you could smell it in this kitchen. Oh, the meat smells wonderful. This is really good. Really, really good.
Did you get all the elements in there?
I did, except for the crouton.
Yeah, and that will take some chewing. Now, I want Marcia, as soon as she swallows that crouton, which will be a bit because they really got tasty, she's going to try the biscuit, because I think it's the best biscuit I've ever eaten.
And hot out of the oven. This is a great meal. A great summer meal especially.
Okay. All right, well, it's time for Marcia and I to have lunch, to eat these beautiful biscuits, have some nice tea with our lunch, and I will offer you to come back anytime you want. I love knowing you're out there. I love knowing that you might be trying something beautiful like this for your family. And it's a good weeknight dish too, it really is, because it's so quick. If you enjoyed yourself, please hit the subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. If you want to say anything to me, write a comment. I always read them and I try to respond to everybody. And all of the ingredients are going to be listed below. Okay, so you'll have the full recipe for everything I did here. So with that, I wish you well in life. I wish you a blessed path in life. And I will see you on the next video. Thank you. Bye.